what is the difference? I mean, we still talk about aspiring to connect Cape to Cairo, Dakar to Mogadishu, which we did not see it practically. What makes it different at this time to plan for the next 50 years ahead?
First of all, let's believe in ourselves. Is helping who? I mean, is it the West helping Africa by bringing this small donation, whatever, or is it us helping them?
Hello, our viewers. So as you know, in Connect Africa YouTube channel or in this media platform, what we do is we bring you three contents. One is talking about the African diaspora. Secondly, we talk about the Africans who return to home, meaning Africans from the West, from Europe, from the Northern America, and from Caribbean as well, who return to Africa, and then what are their challenges. And then thirdly, also we bring you what's going on in the African Union, things what, you know, as a citizen and as a diaspora, how we can participate. So in this particular program, we have here Ato Mesfin Tessema. He will be briefing us, or he will tell us. We are going to discuss basically about Agenda 2063. So Ato Mesfin, just to say a little word. Welcome, Ato Mesfin.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so just to say a little bit, Ato Mesfin Tessema he's the director meaning the African Union Commission, a director of strategy, policy planning, monitoring, evaluation, and resource mobilization. He's from Ethiopia. He will tell us more about himself. So who is Mesfin Tessema before joining this international organization as a public servant?
Yeah, yes, I am Mesfin Tessema Shakri. I'm an Ethiopian. Currently, I'm working African Commission as the director of. Actually, the name has changed. It was strategic planning, monitoring and evaluation, and resource mobilization. Now the structure of the organization has changed, and now the name has changed. So the new name of the department I'm heading as the director is Office of Strategic Planning and Delivery. It's called OSPD.
Okay.
In this, I am responsible for strategy of the African Union Commission and of also other organs of the Union, planning, monitoring, and evaluation. And also, I am responsible for the follow-up of the implementation of Agenda 2063. So currently, this is who I am. Before joining the Commission, I was working in the banking sector for many years. My last position was I was the Vice President of United Bank Share Company in Addis Ababa. Okay. Then I joined the African Union Commission. Here I am. I have worked for the last 16 years now.
Wow. Okay. So particularly this department you joined when?
Okay. I joined AUC in 2005, but I was appointed director of this department September 2016.
Oh, 2016. Okay. So there is this Agenda 2063. I know it has a lot of aspiration under its belt, but just tell us or enlighten us, what is Agenda 2063? What does it have under its belt? And what does it mean for its citizens, like ordinary citizens?
Yes, Agenda 2063 is a continental agenda. I may say also it is a continental strategy. Agenda 2063 was actually conceived in a very important day of the establishment of OAU. So that was 2013. That marked the 50th anniversary of OAU. So we have seen the last, when we were in 2013, we saw how the continent went through the ups and the downs, you know, the fight against colonialism, and etc. So OAU was there actually to to achieve many objectives, which many of them have achieved, I would say. Then 50 years down the line, we saw where we started, where we reached, and then our heads of state government, particularly the then chairperson of the African Commission, now they introduced this 50 years ahead, meaning where we are now, we know where we are, where we want to be 50 years later, meaning being 2013, where shall Africa be, or where do we want to take Africa by 2060, or in short, what does Africa look like by 2060? You know, strategy, when you have a vision, the vision should be very far so that you work very hard and achieve. So Agenda 2063 is the continental agenda. I think it's the first of its kind, I may say. Agenda 2063 was established, was conceived based on 7 aspirations. This, we believe, are basic for the development of strategy and what we want to achieve by 2063. So there are 7 aspirations we wanted to achieve by 2063, even if some of us will not be there, but our children will see the impact and the result. So these are, in short, the first aspiration is, of course, we want to see a very prosperous continent where we will not see any poverty. That is one big aspiration. And then we have, actually, the anchor aspiration is integration. So by 2063, we aspire that Africa will be united, both politically and economically. Of course, it's a long way. We start with the economic integration because first people have to integrate themselves before the political integration comes. I think that is the right path. You cannot politically integrate and try to integrate economically the people of Africa. That's not the right way. So the right way is we have a lot of projects which will support us to integrate Africa. One of which, for example, recently you may have heard about the Continental Free Trade Area. That is one integrating project. So there are also other aspirations, like, for example, the involvement of women, youth, peace and security, good governance, and also Africa's role in the world, or what will be our rightful place in the world. So all in all, we have like 7 aspirations, which we believe will achieve by 2063. So Agenda 2063 it's aspiration, it's a strategic document based on Agenda 2063. Now we have developed the actual strategy itself. We call it 10 years implementation plan, because you cannot plan for 50 years by 60 now. So this 50 years was divided into 5 10 years plan. We call them 10 years implementation plan. Currently, we are in the first 10 years implementation plan. It runs from 2013 up to 2024. So up to 2023. Starting 2024, now we are preparing ourselves for the second 10 years implementation plan. So it goes. By 2063, we will have the 5th 10 years implementation plan. So at the conclusion of the 5th 10 years implementation plan of Agenda 2063, is the time we believe we achieve what we had aspired for. So basically, this is Agenda 2063. Technically, by the way, there are 2 big documents. There is what we call Agenda 2063 framework document, which has all the framework, the aspirations, and then we have this 10 years implementation plan, like it's cascaded down. The first 10 years implementation plan, for example, we have 20 goals. These 20 goals addresses the 7 aspirations, because unless you cascade it down like that, it cannot be implemented. So you have to make it implemented.
So in the first 10 years, still you will be touching the 7 years, the 7 aspirations.
At different level, we are touching, because at the end of the day, in the 50 years down the line, up to 2063, we've been doing for the realization of those aspirations. These aspirations are a very high level aspirations. You cannot even meet them the first 10 years or the second 10 years. I think most of the aspirations, for example, integration. It's not possible to integrate Africa within first 10 years, for example, or second 10 years. If it is, we'll be happy, but to be more practical, that's not, no, we don't believe that, or we don't think that will be achieved in 10 years. It's not an easy task. You know, Africa has 55 member states with different political structure, different economic policies, and etc. So now this Agenda 2063 brings that together. The most important aspect of Agenda 2063, it's not simply a document just on the shelf. Each and every member state of the African Union, 55 member states, have signed up for this strategy. So they are actually, by decision, required to align their national plans to the strategy. So this is also one of the beauty of the strategy. It's not like you follow this. The high-level skeleton is there. Each member state is expected or required to align its national plans based on those 20 goals. And the 20 goals actually addresses the 7 aspirations. So that's how it goes. So, for example, the role of this commission, the role of this department I'm heading, one of the roles is to domesticate Agenda 2063. Agenda 2063 is approved, the document is approved, but it's not enough. You have to go to the member state professionals, technical people like planners, decision makers, parliamentarians, communication experts. We went there, sat with them, and discussed what Agenda 2063 is, and also particularly with the planners. We showed them how they can actually align their own national plans. Because if each and every country cannot align its plan with Agenda 2063, who is going to implement it? So each country should implement, and they implement through their national plans. It's not like a parallel strategic plan running with the member states. It is not. The member states will align to the high-level strategy. So that's how it is. Okay, the document also, the strategy is supported by different documents for the implementability. For example, we have what we call domestic resource mobilization strategy. It's already approved. How do we mobilize, for example, resources for the project is in the agenda. Also, to support the fast tracking of these 7 aspirations, we have 15 flagship projects. We call them flagship projects. They cut across. It's not a one country's project. For example, the AFCFTA, African Continental Free Trade Area. It is for all member states. We just launched it in this year, 1st of January 2021. This is one project it's supporting project for the strategy, in addition to what member states will do in their national plans. Okay, so these 15 projects, we believe, will facilitate and, I may say, fasten the pace of the implementation of the projects under Agenda. We have many other projects. I can tell you one or two. One is AFCFTA, like
it's good. Yeah, we will come back to the flagship, but still, I want to take you now. Help me this to understand for me and also for our viewers. Now, OAU, as you rightly mentioned, is established in 1963, and it has aspiration by then. In fact, you also confirmed that the same aspiration, you said, although this was really, the name came in 2013 by the then chairperson, I think it was Madam Zuma by that time when this was adopted, Agenda 2063. So in 1963, those aspirations was there. OAU saw itself transformed to the African Union in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. And then now in 2013, it adopted this. So the same, if the same aspirations, because it was in my question, were there, what is the difference? I mean, we still talk about aspiring to connect Cape to Cairo, Dakar to Mogadishu, which we did not see it practically. What makes it different at this time to plan for the next 50 years ahead? Why 50 years? And then, yeah, what's like tangible now that this can be implemented to all those nice aspirations that are put as a strategy? Yeah, if you can just...
let me start from, actually, OAU's aspiration predominantly was to fight colonialism, apartheid, which I believe have been concluded successfully. That time, that was the reason even OAU was established. You know the story how it was established, and the reason was first of all to bring the African people together. They have never been together before. They were colonized by different European countries, and there was no like a formal organization which bring them. First of all, they were not even members. I mean, countries. I mean, governments. There were many clandestine.
There was the Pan-Africanism agenda, which was introduced by Nkrumah, which is economic empowerment.
Yes, it was a long struggle to liberate the African people. At the time of the establishment of the OAU, not all 55 member states were liberated. You know that some were still fighting colonialism. As recent as 1991 or 1991, 1994, I believe, when Mandela was elected. As recent as this 1994, apartheid was there. So OAU really tried very hard to help those countries which were under the yoke of colonialism and managed actually to take them out, including apartheid. You know, apartheid collapsed. There are many factors, of course, the struggle of South African people, but the support of the OAU was immense. You know? So largely, by and large, the aspiration of OAU, I may say, were two. One, first of all, to bring the African people together, to sit together and discuss our challenges, our problems. Where do we go from here? That's one. But very impressively, it was pressing issues at time to liberate all Africans from the yoke of colonialism. I think that was done. So after that now, since that objective was accomplished, what's next? Next will be now development, integration. That's why the concept of coming up with this 50-year strategy came. Why 50 years? Why not 10, 20 years? Well, you know, in strategy, there is no, it's not custom stories. There is no hard and fast rule to say, okay, strategy should be for 10 years, 15 or 20 years. This is a big continent. And when you plan, you better plan well, and you better plan also things which you can implement. Otherwise, you plan, it will not be implemented. You know, the impact is bad. It will frustrate the African people. As usual, oh, of course, we plan, we don't implement. So I think that is why it was chosen the 50 years. Also, it has some emotional attachment. In 2013, we celebrated the establishment of OAU 50 years anniversary. So it is only, I will not say logical, but it's only normal for one to think, okay, what now the next 50 years? I think that is the reason. But for the objectives, the objectives are completely different. I think I touched that. Now the agenda has more and broader objective, and also basically for Africans to work for ourselves, to develop our own aspirations, and to think how we can aspire, how we can achieve the targets and the goals of those aspirations. I think it's only natural. The other difference is that, by the way, before Agenda 2023, there were a lot of frameworks, many frameworks, but they didn't get this audacity, and they didn't get the buy-in, I may say, that time. There were a lot of efforts. This Agenda 2023 didn't just come just like that. All those frameworks, previous continental frameworks or regional frameworks, really helped us. So this is that's why in my introduction I said Agenda 2063 is probably the first of its kind, where it mobilized all the African continent, 55 member states of the African Union, to come together and to think together, so that one day we may be one country, big country. You know, Africa is the richest country in the world, by the way. Yeah. So we cannot, unless we come together, we cannot even tap our own resources, and we cannot change the dire need of our people. You know, it's a paradox. Africa is a rich continent. They say Africa is a rich continent with poor people. You know, it's very sad to think about it. So we have to do something to to come together, collectively do something. Just simple reason, if you simply say one simple example, if we simply, for example, trade amongst ourselves, you can imagine what it looks like.
So we can say at the same time, it's old, but at the same time also it's new, this Agenda 2063, at 50 years old, then, you plan again for the next 50 years. That was done, we achieved this and that, and yeah, I think that's how I see it, because still the same aspirations that were there are not achieved, but hopefully we are going on the right direction. Now, you said there are these 10 years flagship programs. There were 10, but I think I heard you saying 15. There are 15 flagship. So kind of enablers of those aspirations, right? So now we are in 2021, almost close to the 10 year. How do you assess yourself? Have you achieved? You can tell us, of course, those flagships, what these flagships are, and then, looking back, what was achieved and what wasn't.
Okay, before I answer, let me somehow comment on the OAU and agenda things. Like I said, in Agenda 23, if you see, this one is a very structured strategy and policy document. That one was established basically with that one or two aspiration, I may say. So I don't think we can say Agenda 23 was there in May 1963. It was not there. But what we did the last 50 years, when we were in 2013, we have taken a lot from that. What we have done, what we have not done, and how best now we can serve this continent. So that's how it comes. Now, okay. You want me to talk about the flagship projects?
Yes, and assessing, looking back, what was achieved. And
okay, we have 15 flagship projects. Their level of progress is at a different, the progress is at different level. There are some which has progressed very well. For example, the popular one, of course, is the AFCFTA.
Yeah.
Okay. That went very well. In fact, it beat the expectation of many. I'm not saying the job is done, but we have started. And even the goal of AFCFTA was not simply to establish, and that is it. The establishment is the beginning of what we want to do for the next 50 years. So that one, I comfortably say that we have achieved.
Yeah.
Of course, there are parallel flagship projects, I may say enablers, even for this AFCFTA itself. For example, we have one flagship project called Free Movement of People, Goods and Services, and African Passport. Definitely, this flagship project needs to be implemented. A lot of work has been done. When you work in a continent like this, it's not easy. You cannot just enact a directive or a policy and it's implemented. There are a lot of negotiations by taking, giving, taking, back and forth. So this one, particularly the free movement of people, it has not yet been achieved, but there are a lot of steps have been taken, but we are not yet there to say, for example, we have now one passport for Africa. But believe me, it will happen, because if you don't do that, the CFTA itself will not be fully implemented. For example, how can you trade amongst yourselves if people are not moving around? If I'm not going from Addis to Accra, if I'm a trader, I mean, how can we trade? So that is, one leads to the other. We have also many other flagship projects at different levels. For example, I can tell you single African air transport market. We call it SAATM. This has also progressed very well. Until very recently, in short, what it means is that we want African skies to be free for Africans. That's what it means. Until very recently, if you want to travel in, say, particularly in West Africa, not even from East Africa. From the same West Africa, if you want to travel from one country to the next country, first you have to hit Europe and you have to come back. Now I think that has changed a lot. Now, for example, from east to west, you can directly fly. This happened because I don't remember the numbers, but many member states signed up. So really, it's a big progress, I may say. The others, the others are very big. For example, I will tell you one big infrastructure project. It is on the Inga Dam. We call it Inga Dam.
Yeah.
Big dam.
Yeah.
But now it's a big dam, and this was like one. It has different phases. We have on the third phase now. The Inga Dam, when it's built, will generate at least 44 million megawatt, I think.
Where it will be built, by the way?
44,000, right? Yeah, 44,000 megawatts. No, it's on the Congo Basin, Congo River. So if, it's a big power. Now, Africa needs big energy because you don't do anything without energy. So this is one of the projects we believe many countries will benefit from that dam. But is it going very fast? No, it is not. We have a lot of challenges, actually. We have a lot of challenges. So I don't know. The projects are at a different level. If you ask me, are we very happy on the progress? No, we are not. No, we are not. We have a long way to go. But at least we have started.
That will lead us to our next question. So in general, what are the challenges and perspectives in terms of implementing Agenda 2063 and and its 10 years flagship programs in every level? What are the challenges mainly that you are facing?
Okay, by the way, the flagship projects are not the 10 years the 10-year flagship projects.
Oh.
The 10 years implementation plan. The strategy is divided into 5.
Okay.
First 10 years plan, second 10 years plan, third 10 years plan. Now we are in the first 10 years implementation plan. It's an implementation arrangement.
Will same flagship will be in every?
For now, we have 50 flagship projects. By the way, when we started, there were 12.
I think I on my note even I have 10. So I was okay when you said 50.
Have started at 10. New ones are coming. In fact, there is a discussion. Probably we may have even to revise some of them.
Okay.
Like the implementation period and etc. We have to adjust it upon the situation. For example, who thought COVID will be here and disrupt all our lives?
True.
It does. So the future is highly unpredictable, and it's up to us to adjust as we go. And I'm sure, I expect that these flagship projects will be revised based on the scope and also on the duration of implementation. So they will continue. Some of them, we can achieve them quickly. Some big one may continue for some years. Like, for example, there is one flagship project. We have not yet started it, but it's a novel project. At least in principle, we have agreed. We call it fast train network. We wanted to connect all African big cities with train. We have not yet started it, but I'm sure once we are over with this COVID, probably some preparatory work will be there. But I still think that some of the projects need to be revised. So that is it about the flagship projects. Most of them really need time. Okay, what are our challenges? The challenge, first of all, finance is a challenge. We have also technical challenges we work with because some of the projects are mega projects, particularly those infrastructure projects. In fact, it will actually. I'm tempted to say these flagship projects largely you can categorize them infrastructural projects and non-infrastructural projects. For example, that's not high categorization. The non-structural projects like free movement of people in the African passport. It doesn't need financial investment, except probably when we agree to have one passport, you may need some money on that. I don't think that will be a big deal. So one of the challenges we have is how fast our members are moving. Some are ready by now. Some are very ready, some are not. And don't forget, each member state have their own legislation, their own administrative system, and etc. So it will not be easy. It needs continuous effort to enlarge the number of member states who are really ready. Yeah, sorry. Hello? You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, I think, power outage. It came back now. So these are some of the challenges, the technical challenges, like in the case of Ingaran, etc. The finance also challenge, and also our different political system is also a challenge. You understand?
Yeah.
So the other time, of course, the other challenge is even the size of the project. Sometimes it's challenge, like connecting African cities with the train network. You cannot reach within 5 or 10, 6 to 10 years. It needs some time. Okay.
That's the same plan with Cape to Cairo. That's also about, we are talking about train, right?
Cape to Cairo, I think it was a highway. I think that was before me. I heard it when I was not even in the commission. But this one, the plan is to connect all the African cities. But I think it will be done by block. First, we have to connect the regions. Like, for example, there is a road now. It's about to be completed between Addis and Mombasa. Nairobi, you know. So the implementation modality is that we start from the regions. Each region, if we connect, and then from region to region will be easier. But there's a lot of work. There is a lot of work.
Do you think that, you know, the African Union, as opposed to the European Union, the power lies within member states, the head of member states, not really in the hands of the Commission? Do you think that's more problem, you know, as a challenge?
Maybe
implementation.
Maybe because when you compare African Union and the European Union, by the way, European Union themselves, they started a long time ago before they reached to where now the EU is, where the power is now at EU, right? EU is more powerful than the member states.
Yeah.
But they didn't achieve it just like that. They were there like economic union, economic community. I think we are on the first stage. I would say. To answer your question, yes, we wish that this union is a powerful union, so that decisions are made. It has financial resources, it has power, but now that's not happening. But we believe we are heading to that. It needs time. Even the Europeans, as I said, they took a lot of time actually before they reached here. But one day we will. And I mean, it's very clear that if the union has that power, it will be easier to implement projects. But
who is funding Agenda 2063? Is it member states or non-African organizations or states?
Agenda 2063, you mean
you know, there are programs under it to be implemented. Yeah. So when that strategy is put on paper, so you also talked about who is funding this or how it will be funded. So who is funding so far, and how do you plan to fund the next?
Okay, let me say this. Agenda 2063 is a strategy. Agenda 2063 doesn't have a project for itself. It's a strategy for member states. In short, it means each member state has Agenda 2063. That's what it means. Mm-hmm. Meaning, they have their own national plans, right? That national plan now, after the decision taken to adopt Agenda 2063, their national plans will be Agenda 2063 goals and targets. It's not like Agenda 2063 has its own program, projects which we run parallelly. No, this is a strategy where our member states are required to adapt. In short, the flagship projects are enablers which run parallel. Yes, for that there are different proposals for financing, but you can we cannot say there is Agenda 2063 project, we need financiers. No, this is a strategy which each member state will take, adapt it, and make it its own national plan. For the flagship projects, there are different sources. I mentioned earlier, there are also other supporting strategies. There is what you call domestic resource mobilization strategy for Agenda 2063. In that strategy, different options are actually listed. One of the options, which I also share, by the way, my background is a banker also.
Okay.
One way we implement this big project by begging from outside. We need to finance our own project. The study showed us, we had our African experts who did this study. The study showed us money is not a problem in Africa, by the way. Accessing it is a problem. Money per se for investment is not a problem. There are different modalities of mobilizing resources. One, for example, is crowdfunding. If you convince African people, for example, to buy bond or share, say to build Inga Dam, you can raise billions.
Like the great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam.
For example, you know, some countries have done, it's possible. That's one. The second source, of course, we cannot do everything by ourselves. In the strategy, in the domestic resource mobilization strategy for Agenda 2063, we have also the partnership side. Of course, we have good partners who are really willing to support Africa, not philanthropy. It is a win-win. It's a business venture we want for this big, particularly big projects which need funding. We definitely at some point our partners will be approached to invest. We want them to invest, and they win, we win. We are not asking begging money to build this project. It's not possible. It's not possible in principle. It's wrong also. So it would be like based on investment, whether by African people or by outside partners, our partners per se, not donors, partners. So these how.
But with that, there's no pros and cons, like in terms of ownership of those projects when they invest and when they are like business partners.
There is, you know, the projects are different. Some projects are not even business-oriented projects. For example, let me tell you, we have one flagship project, museum, the Grand Museum of Africa. It's going to be built in Algeria. That's a museum, you know. So it may not even need money. That museum will be in Algeria, for example. The Algerian government will manage it. Okay. When it comes to Inga Dam, it is the Congo government who will basically be responsible, but that they will be working with the regional powers there. So the enablers, in fact, some of the things, it is not like a project with owners. For example, how do you have a project owner of connecting African cities by train network, for example? This is like Ethiopia will do it with Kenya, Kenya will do it with Sudan, Sudan will do it with Chad. So one day, so this is a concept actually.
Okay.
Concept. Yeah, we in the African Union, we support the concept and we support the preparation. We help the African people to do it by themselves. Of course, in that there are a lot of processes. They can take money, they can borrow, they can sell bonds or shares. There are different modalities of mobilizing resources actually.
Let's talk about inclusion. Now, you said it's a strategy, Agenda 2060. You made that very clear. Thank you. But each country, according to its own legislation, and will adopt those flagships and those flagship programs parallelly. We can say between member states can go, or maybe not parallelly because.
Yeah, let me differentiate. The first, for example, the 10-year implementation plan. It is an implementation arrangement of Agenda 2063, the 50-year strategy. Okay, that plan, each member state will legislate it in their national plans. So each member state has its own national plan. When they plan, for example, what do I mean? In Agenda 2063 first 10 years implementation plan, we have 20 goals, and each goal has its own target, sub-target, and etc. Now, each member state we know where to fit in. For example, let us say reduction of poverty by 5%. That's a goal, it's a target. Now, that's why that's what we mean when we say they have to align it. So when Ethiopia is planning for the reduction of poverty, it will align that goal, her goal, to the goal of Agenda 2023. So in the process, when all 55 members do that, which means Agenda 2023 is now everywhere. That's what it means. But the difference between the Agenda, the strategy, and the flagship project is that most of the flagship projects are cut across actually. Some are contained in one country. Some cut across. and some are like continental programs, like this big Inga Dam. There's no way Congo can do by itself. So they can. There are legal arrangements, of course. At the end of the day, based on the agreement and the arrangement, the sharing of the benefits will be defined. I mean, it's not like in a haphazard way. So the flagships are parallel projects to enable the overall progress and development of the continent. But some are, like say, the Grand Museum of Africa. It's a museum. Maybe one day it may also generate revenue when people want to go and visit and etc. Okay. Some projects are just policies. For example, freeing your skies under SA8M, Single African Air Transport Market. This is a policy decision by member states. You see, you don't actually invest and you see the project running in. This is just a policy decision. Once they do that, the beneficiaries will be African institutions, African companies, African airlines, African people. You see, that's how it goes.
Where does the African diaspora lie in all this Agenda 2063 thing?
You know, one of the aspirations, one of those 7 aspirations, is to promote Africa in the global arena. That is the aspiration. We believe in Africa that Africa has not gotten its rightful place in the world, whether in the political establishment, economic establishment, and etc. So the diaspora, I believe, can support these initiatives in many ways. One, for example, when we have these big projects, for example, they can be investors in those projects because for tourism, yes, they can get benefit. They are also Africans in a way they are supporting their own people. Okay, so they can involve and engage in our initiatives. That's one. 2, they can also, if you know, when we create conducive environment for trade, for example, of course, the African diaspora around the world, they can come, invest, live wherever they want. So one of the things now we are working, which actually some regions have already achieved. If you go to ECOWAS, for example, West Africa, you know that you don't need the passport. It's just one ID. Like
ECOWAS is much ahead in terms of REX.
Yes. ECOWAS is much ahead. So if we do that by free movement of people, if we have the same currency, if I am in Ethiopia, if I can go to say Tunisia and buy land and invest, you know, with what this means is this is very appealing for our diaspora, particularly those who are already in business in the Western world. They can come, live, and invest. So what we do is creating a conducive environment so that our own sons and daughters of Africa living abroad can come, invest, win-win. They benefit the people of Africa as well. Of course, politically, the diaspora has to play a bigger role in selling African brand, and it's very clear. Okay, there are many things which we expect from diaspora, particularly political support, because we believe some have even higher positions and some are in many type of different businesses. Okay, so I think there is but the first thing for them is to be touch base with us. By the way, we have even a department called CIDO.
Yes.
This, African diaspora and civil society.
Citizens,
there is a department working on that. To first of all, our diaspora should be very much aware what we do here.
Exactly. That's why we have this platform.
Yes, awareness should be there. They have to be keen and follow what is the development in the continent. Not only the bad stories that they're fighting and dying and whatever, but the good stories also, they need to buy. At the end of the day, they are part of us, even if we are not physically living in the same place. So that's it. And also, you know, we have offices in Japan and America. It's like we have office in New York, in DC, in Brussels. In
the AU, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think they need also to take one step forward and start to work with them. They have a lot of programs for them, by the region, you know.
Let me just bring this. I read in one of your interviews, I think you were quoted in one article where you say, no, which is not long ago, you personally is quoted saying, I dream of seeing Agenda 2063 realized. When that happens, we may no longer see African people dying of hunger or disease.
Yeah.
How far we are.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, you don't have to put it exactly in terms of time or a number of years, but speaking
what
today,
do I mean?
yeah, okay. Speaking
What
of
do I
today, what do you see? Do you still hold the same hope, or your hope may have increased even much better? So, yeah.
Frankly speaking, I mean, we have to be very candid on this. I still believe that we are underperforming. First of all, you can read many papers and research papers and whatever. We have the largest resource in the world.
Yeah.
Nobody can deny that.
Yeah.
Not only natural resource, even human resource we have. Unfortunately, most of our good, bright sons and daughters are not with us, they are outside. That's one. Two, even for those who are here, I know there's a potential. So I believe in that potential, and it is doable. We just have to bring our heads together, particularly those at the politics, for example, at the political level. They really should take this as a serious matter, because this is the only way to eradicate poverty. Like I said, if you don't want to see a child dying of disease, simple disease, which can be curable with a few tablets, it's a simple step. Let's come together. Let's see what's in Agenda 2063. Let's really uphold our programs such as CFTA. Let's trade amongst ourselves. Then we can see the benefit. I know I mean, politicians worry because that is their job. Probably, for example, for the free movement of people, some still believe that, no, what do we do about the security if people are following like freely, blah, blah, you know. Yes, it's a rightful worry. But you cannot, because there is a problem, you cannot sit and fear and, you know, do nothing. We can do something. We can address the challenges and move on. If we do that, believe me, Africa, leave alone for us. Africa, even now, it's supporting the world anyways. In fact, the other day I was listening to one very bright girl, lady, was talking who is helping who. I mean, is it the West helping Africa by bringing this small donation, whatever, or is it us helping them? So, I mean, yes, when you see it is so and so has helped Africa, this country gave 2 million, 50 million, but what is going out of Africa to the West is by far greater than what we are giving back. We are not saying just give us money. What we are saying is we want like equal play field. Even the world need to understand it to support us, because sooner or later, Africa is coming. I mean, we cannot sit and see while we are sitting on big resources and keep on complaining about poverty, about disease. You know, me, I have a great. I'm a believer. Just have to sit and think and bring our heads together. Believe me.
Manifest it. Yeah. Finally, that will bring us to the final question. I will give you the floor to say if there is anything that you would like to get across, particularly for the African diaspora who are the viewers of this video, and for anyone as a conclusion.
Yeah, thank you very much, actually, for giving me the opportunity. I have a very simple message for my sisters and brothers in diaspora. First of all, let's believe in ourselves. You in the diaspora, you are very successful. In fact, in many schools and medical centers, businesses, I know our African sons and daughters have made it better than many of the people. If you can do it there, you can do it here. I know there are challenges in Africa, but let's please, first of all, believe in ourselves. Let's at least each one of us do something, even to address the challenges we perceived. Not everything is bad in Africa. Yeah, there are bad things. You know, it's unfortunate. It's man-made, I would say. So, first of all, consider yourself. Your root is here. So think of that and try to take initiative. Even if we cannot approach you because of many limitations, you can approach us. We have offices everywhere, not everywhere at least. We have 2 offices in Europe, 2 offices in America, and you can be touch base with us. So let's believe in ourselves. Let's believe that we can change, and we can change ourselves, and we can change the continent. Africa is a good continent. Please let's bring our heads together. There is no small contribution. All contributions are important. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Ato Mesfin, really for enlightening, for shining a light on Agenda 2063. Now I think things will be clear. And yeah, thank you for your time. And it's only my hope that we will meet again, you will update us about any developments happening within this strategy. So yeah, thank you everyone for viewing this video, and if you like it and if you find it interesting, please share it with your friends, spread the word, and be a family of Connect Africa YouTube channel. Thank you, Ato Mesfin. Thank you. Bye-bye.